All right. Sorry, guys. I think we just have to move on with today's class. Yeah. So good morning, everybody. Good day from Nigeria. Good morning from Nigeria. Good day from every other place in Africa. It's my pleasure to be a host today, and it is very good and glad to actually see all of you guys on the call today. And then I really want to say my sincere gratitude to everyone that has been creating time to actually join this learning session. It's one-time intensive, and it's might be quite challenging for some of us. Like myself this morning, I've been having a lot of internet issues, and that is what is causing my presentation for the video as well. But then I'm very sorry. So without wasting much of our time, also I want to say a big thank you to our facilitator, Mr. Shokpe Afolayan, for joining us in today. Your expertise have actually given a lot of young people inspiration to actually take actions in the climate sector. Thank you so much for heeding to our call. Before we proceed to the business of today, I just want us to branch into two spaces today before we go. We delve into the the training proper. So by 11:30, we'll start the training proper by 11:30. Now the first thing on our agenda. Can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, just say hi on the group chat. Yeah, because I'm saying there is no sound. I just heard there is no sound. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Yeah. So part of the requirements of this fellowship is to ensure that we all engage in a physical project. And then in the last couple of weeks, would have seen that we've been seeing groups flying up and down. We've been seeing our name in different Excel document, and all of that has been happening between Wednesday and Sunday. I just want to expand more on that. So the learning session for the fellowship is actually 8 weeks, as we've known. Then the 2 other weeks will be for our project. Now that project is a group project. We are meant to come together as groups to actually do that. I want to commend the leadership of all the volunteers that have shown interest to take up on that challenge to becoming the country rep who will be in charge of the project. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are amazingly wonderful. I must say that I've worked with young people over the last 7 years in this space. Your energy, your commitment, and your devotion to actually to make sure that this is a success for everyone is actually amazing. And then I want to say a big thank you to that for all that you guys have been doing. So also we've been receiving a lot of emails and WhatsApp calls that some people have not are not seeing their names on the list. Yeah, so these are just the simple steps that we will need to do. By the end of today, we'll be having a meeting with all the country reps to actually finalize and to tidy up the project sharing. Now, also we have also prepared a kind of a document on simple projects that is not capital intensive that you guys can join in. Remember that I've mentioned, so I mentioned earlier, because part of the questions that come up regarding the project is, are we going to be funding the project? How are they going to be doing mobilization? And then I want to say that those are part of the trainings that you guys will be getting from this call. From this fellowship. We'll be putting you guys through on how to pitch your ideas, how to start from point zero to actually getting larger in your groups. I remember Zero Carbon, I think during the introductory part, Mayowa mentioned that Zero Carbon Africa is actually my baby. It's actually a project that I've had in mind since I was in secondary school, and today it's coming to life, where we're bringing young people, great minds together to actually creating that change that we want to see in Africa. So let's look at how we can start from point zero, how we can ensure that we, what project that we're doing. During the call with the country reps, I mentioned that a simple project that we all can do as a group is say that each group member should pick 20 bottles per day, or just give yourself a numbers, like this week we are picking 1,000 bottles, and we share the ratio among all of us within the group. This can actually be a project. Let's say that in a day, in a week, we had picked about 2,000 waste bottles. In a month, we had picked over 30,000 waste bottles, and this could actually go into recycling, and that can actually be used to make a sort of income or sort of funding that will use to actually get another project, right? So these are small projects that we can do. Another project that we can think of is tree planting. We can say that each member of the group should plant a tree and host and ensure that that tree survive. That is a simple project that is not capital intensive that we will do. However, we'll be supporting each group with a mobilization fund, a small fund that could be used for mobilizing ourselves. We want to go for a meeting, we want to travel, all of those small expenses. There is actually a small funding on that. And then part of the engagement of this is that to challenge us to actually be innovative, and to challenge us to actually create sustainable changes in our society. The most performing projects in each state will have the opportunity to meet with the Access Bank country director, the sustainability rep of Access Bank in each of this country. The most amazing projects will have the opportunity, and then you'll have the opportunity to explain more, to actually pitch to a financial company that could actually look into scaling up your business or expanding what your ideas are. And these are the opportunities that we'll be creating for you guys in the next 6 weeks or so. So I want to encourage everyone to actually participate. If by the end of today you have not fall into a group, because it is also a criteria for everyone on this fellowship to actually join a group. Where are you going? When you have something here. Sorry for that bridge. So it is also a prerequisite for certification that you guys join a group, participate in a group. Yeah, other questions that have been coming, that is individual projects allowed? Yes, individual can actually do a project, but the funding that will be available for mobilization is per group. is per group. So I want you all to actually work hand in hand. This also will teach us how to synergize, how to work as a team, and that is that on the project. When we're about wrapping up today's event, we'll be explaining more on that because it's almost 9:30. And then the last activity for today, before we go into it, is that if you can still hear me, pop up your favorite emoji. Let's see if you can, if I'm still very audible. Thank you. Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice. Thank you, everyone. Now, I want to believe that everyone has a Twitter account. I want to believe everyone has a Twitter account. Now, I'm posting something on the chat box now. I want us to just, looking at the topic of today, and what we have done. Because for me, one thing that I love doing is personalizing every idea, every learning opportunity to what I can achieve on my own. Now, what does this fellowship mean to you? In one word, in one sentence, go to your Twitter space now. What this fellowship means to you, write it and use the hashtag Zero Carbon Africa. Now I am coming to every country. I will be touring every country. And for today's activity, because today is actually since we've started this the fellowship, time has actually not been on my side, and I'm sincerely sorry. For that. Today being my first day on the call, the highest engagement on Twitter using hashtag Zero Carbon Africa will have the opportunity to go to a radio station with the country directors. Now, what we're doing is go to your Twitter space now, write what this fellowship means to you. Look at all of the courses that will be taken, and how will this change you? Just in one sentence, just in a simple sentence. Let's do that in 2 minutes. And then the highest engagements, invite your friends to just like, comments, and we can talk about that. From our end at Hasey, we'll be reposting and retweeting all your entries. And the most engagement in each country will be the first set of people that will be doing the country tour together, because sometimes in October, November, we'll be doing country tours across all the project countries. So today is the first day. Next week, I'm bringing up another challenge. Upper week, I'm bringing up another challenge. But today's challenge is, let's get engagements. Let's go to the X app. Oh, sorry, it's not Twitter. Let's go to the X app and then just write what the fellowship means to you and use the Zero Carbon Africa, the hashtag Zero Carbon Africa. Someone just asked, can we also use another media handle? That's on that. Yes, we can. And we should be able to. Yes. All right. I'm waiting. In 2 minutes. We'll all be back here in 2 minutes. Remember
Thank you very much, Bamdele.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were still speaking.
Yeah. I'm still speaking now. So it's 11:30, and then we don't want to keep our facilitator waiting. I'll hand over to Mayowa to introduce our facilitator for today, and then we can delve into the action. Thank you. Over, Mayowa.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you for being on the call. We know that we are in our respective workplaces, and if you're not in your workplace, you're probably in school or doing something to mark the beginning of the week. Today, like I said, we are going to be taking a class from our facilitator, the great Shokwe Apolayo. Shokwe is on the call, so I'd like him to say something, briefly, to know that, to just acknowledge that he's on the call. Good morning, Shokwe. Good morning. If you're on the call.
Good morning, Mayo.
Good morning. It's
Can you hear
exciting. Yes, you're very audible. You're very audible. Thank you so much for allowing us to give you some wahala, because I know you are really, really busy. I know that, and at least for honoring our invitation, I really appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. So let me just go on to introduce you to our participants. Our participants are from 6 African countries. We are from South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, Zambia, Ghana. And each of these countries have a broad spectrum of individuals. Some of us are still in our undergraduate programs. Some of us are postgraduates. Some of us are already climate change, sustainability professionals. Some of us, one thing that is binding each and every one of us is that we have interest in addressing the issue of climate change and the effect of climate change in Africa. Our facilitator is Shokwe Apolayo. Shokwe is a circular economy practitioner and innovative solution consultant. He's a member of the Chatham House UK and the chapter organizer of Open IDEO Lagos chapter. Shokwe is passionate about Africa's transition to a circular economy and has interest in design thinking, food systems, renewable energy, and policy advocacy. Shokwe is the founder of Garden in a Box Africa, GABA, a social enterprise focused on eliminating hunger in Nigeria and across Africa through organic vegetable gardening starter kits and a mobile application. His mission is to inspire and cultivate 1 billion organic vegetable gardens across Africa by 2025. Shokwe has also been recognized for his work in designing rural food innovation system. Shokwe is also a winner of the 2021 Food Systems Game Changers Challenge by the Rockefeller Foundation. Shokwe is the lead organizer of Waste Innovation, a platform that encourages secondary school students to create innovative solutions using plastic waste materials. Shokwe is a 2023 Bloom Global Fellow of the Milken Innovation Center at the Jerusalem Institute of Policy Research. Additionally, Shokwe is involved in educational initiatives such as Waste Innovation. Let us appreciate the presence of our facilitator for climate change mitigation in developing countries. Shokwe, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's clap our hands. Let's welcome our facilitator. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the applause. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayowa, for the introduction. I also want to thank Bamidele for conceiving this laudable initiative. Mayowa, do I have to put my video on?
Yes, please. Yes, we have a beautiful background for you, and you can also share your slides. But if you will not be able to share your slides, you can just, but any which way, you can just, take it over from here.
Okay, so you're saying you can't start your video because the hosts have stopped it.
Okay, so just give me a second. Let me do something about that. Okay. Okay. All right, you should be able to do that now.
Okay, still giving the same feedback.
Okay. Let's see. Are you able to share now?
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Very much.
Hello, everyone from across Africa and probably the world. It's a very special privilege to be here, and thanks to AC Health Initiative and the management. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here, and I have so much that I would love to share. Of course, time would never be on our side. I mean, I always like to say that you never have time for everything you want to do in life, but you can always create time for the most important things. So, yeah, let me just add to the profile you read. I have a master's degree in global development practice, and I am currently an organizational member of African Circular Economy Network. As a matter of fact, I'm on one of the committees, for welcoming new members across the world. And yeah, so basically, then I'm currently the program coordinator for Carbon Offset Project Africa, an initiative of Images Initiative, in Nigeria. So yeah, practically, I have a task for the participant, Mayo. I don't know if we can have a quick task just to like an icebreaker, something to, instead of just delving into. Then I also like to ask. I might also like to mention, pardon me, I am an author. This is my first book, Stop Thinking Outside the Box. And I want to give, I don't know how we're going to do it because we are all around Africa and probably the world, 10 copies of this. So whoever gets, you're able to fulfill the task I'm reading out now. It's very simple and interesting. I don't know how we're going to share and distribute across Africa 10 copies of this. I want to give it out. So it's a book like the world has never seen, trust me. The word says, think out of the box, but I'm saying stop thinking outside the box. So now here's the task. Are we set? I need everyone to, I want us to do this within 2 minutes as fast as possible because there's so much in the slides to talk about. So I need you to get a plain white sheet, if you can see me, a plain white sheet. Or, it doesn't have to be plain, a sheet of paper. And I need you to draw 20 circles like this. I just drew this. 20 circles like this. Can you hear me, please? I need to hear from our participants. Can you all hear? Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I need you to draw quickly. I need you to draw 20 circles. 20 circles. Oh, I can't see any. Somebody saying I can't see anything. That's always a challenge with. Let me see. I can't see anything. Can you see, please? Okay, you can hear me at least. So because of time, I want us to quickly do this. It may not be clear for everyone. As much people can understand what I'm trying to say. Just listen if you can't see. Get a piece of paper, draw 20 circles. Oh, I have drawn, awesome. Thank you. Yes, I can see. Thank you. Draw 20 circles, please. So if you've done that, I'm going to go straight into the task. So now what I need you to do is in 60 seconds, Mario, please, you can time us. In 60 seconds, I need you to transform these circles into recognizable objects. For instance, I just transformed this one into a ball. This is circles into 20 circles into recognizable objects. So whoever can transform the most circles gets, so top 10 gets my book. Trust me, it's a bestseller. So your time starts now. Now, rule number 1, think outside the box. Rule number 2, which is the main rule, think like there is no box. I'm not going to say more than that. That's like a lot of clue I just gave you. Rule number 1, think outside the box. Rule number 2, think like there is no box. Your time starts now. Thank you. Oh, so feedback, you have to put on your, oh, that's true. How do we do that? I was gonna say, okay, maybe if you're able to achieve that in 60 seconds, indicates then if it's possible for them to show their video. Oh, unfortunately, I was thinking, we just have people say I've done it. Okay, well, it's not even hard. Can people talk? Am I
Yes,
right?
people can, yes.
Can they talk?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so
So once
another
you are
thing we
ready, you
can
can just raise your hands up.
yeah, another thing we can do. Oh yeah, awesome. Another thing we can do is to make it interesting because of time as well, instead of talking. Just type the entire 20 transformations. Just type it at once. So the first 10 is what we're going to pick. And Myra will help us with that as a judge. Type it in the chat, 20. So if you can't go up to 2015 and you have just 60 seconds, and I think your time is on already. So type them together, please. Together, please don't type them one after the other. Together and just paste everything at once, please. Somebody's or Emanuela, type them together. Thank you.
So basically, the highest number of recognizable
transform
objects.
Yes.
Okay.
Please, you can just help me take notes, their names. I'll just try and share my screen now. Is my screen up, please? Can you see my screen? Okay, awesome. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Is it not time up yet?
Yeah, I think it's time now.
Okay. Do you have anybody with 20?
Okay, so let's quickly do this chats. So I think I can just stop the chat, then it's easy.
Just message.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I'll start from down here. So from Cynthia Watola. She has so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Cynthia 10. 10. Dominic Chibeza has 3. Okay. Caroline Linda, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So Caroline has 12. 12. Lucky One Day has so let's see, has 4, 5, 7. 7. 7. Let's see another person. Okay, Victor Ogot has 7 also. Mami Essie, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Mami Essie has 16. 16. So that's the highest till now. Let's see. Okay. Okay, that's then Kakai. Kakai has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. Kakai Michelle has 17. Rhoda Mongina has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11. Rhoda. 11. So let me see if someone else has a higher number. So far,
Top 10, please.
far,
People made that
top 10. Top 10. Are we doing top 10?
Yes, 10 people.
Okay. Okay then. So let me see. All right. So my first winner is Kakai. I think. Yeah. So I'll list them out. I'll send it to you. So what you can just get on with the class and yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you everyone.
When we do it physically, it's usually fun. Okay, so I'm facilitating on climate change mitigation in developing countries. I'm sure we are all from Africa. And then there's a story I usually like to share. It's something that we are mostly familiar with. And it's centered, a bit centered around circular economy, the principles of circular economy. And so, I mean, the Industrial Revolution began, and I mean, it was a lot. It brought a lot of, I mean, revolution, like it was called, a lot of revolution, a lot of transformation, changes, particularly increase in the quantity of product and items, you know, that were produced. Of course, it brought a lot of jobs, economic growth. I mean, largely increase in GDP, per capita income, and I mean, nations started expanding, population increased a bit, but largely industries multiplied, manufacturing companies, you know, multiplied largely, and all sort of products were being produced. I mean, initially, we were not thinking ahead, we were not proactive. It seemed like something good. I mean, which was anyways, brought a lot of development to nations and you know, a lot of income to even individuals and families, but largely the aftermath is what we are dealing with today. That's why we are here. I mean, that's why this program has been put together. So most people don't usually link it back to the industrial age and revolution. So that was where it started. And you know, the interesting thing is we're literally producing products to end as waste. So products were consciously and unconsciously designed to move from the factories, I mean, get to us, then end up in landfills, end up in drainages, end up in our backyard, in our front yard, all around us, everywhere, on the streets, consciously and unconsciously. I mean, that's the interesting thing for me. We're literally not thinking of, say, 20, 50, 100, 200 years. I mean, 1,000 years from then. I usually like to, I mean, talk about century thinking, 100 to 1,000. That's what my book is all about, actually, for those who can imagine 100 years. So we're not proactive. We're just enjoying the, you know, the surplus, the boom. I mean, all the, you know, so we're literally innovating. I like to say that we're innovating without a heart. I mean, we're just churning out products. So we take from the environment. I mean, you know, finite resources. We extract them. We take, we make. Then it gets to the consumer. We use them, and we literally throw them away. I mean, let me give you a practical scenario. I don't have a plastic bottle here. I mean, I usually don't use it, so I go around with this. Even when I travel out of Nigeria, I like to go around with this. Is reusable. So just imagine this scenario: a plastic product was designed, and several other products. A lot of resources extracted from our environment, precious resource, finite resources. I mean, this was designed, produced, and it gets to us. We use it. Then what do we do afterwards? I mean, we just trash, literally trash. So that is exactly why we are where we are now. Largely, a lot of pressure on our ecosystems, on on our planet, and the repercussions at the moment. If nothing is done, it might lead to, I mean, much more unexpected and uncontrollable consequences. I mean, there are countries at the moment. I saw one recently on CNN. One of those, I think Asia, one of those countries in Asia, I think, I mean, the water body right now, the level has risen to an extent that they had to evacuate an entire community or communities and evacuated them from that, I mean, and resettled them somewhere else. And that's not the end. Other communities are experiencing the same problem. I mean, so we know what climate change is doing to us. We know what global warming is doing. However, we are not helpless. We are not helpless. I always like to say that. Let me start by saying this. I'm glad that we have a lot of young people here. I mean, we are humans. We have the capacity to imagine the unimaginable, to solve any problem. I mean, I believe we all know this. I always say that there's no limit to what we can achieve and do as humans. And I always like to say that even I mean, and this has always been on my mind since maybe 15 years ago. I mean, as you can imagine how young I will be then. Even for natural disasters, there's something we can do about it. We are not helpless. We're not hopeless. I mean, it's always seemed like some hopeless situation, earthquakes, I mean, wildfires and all that. So climate change mitigation in developing countries, and to make the matter interesting, Africa, I mean, statistics, UN statistics, I mean, reviews that Africa contributes the least to global warming. I mean, the least, but we suffer the most, hazardous effect or impact of global warming. I mean, how can you contribute the least and yet, I mean, you're suffering, from that effect the most? I think totally, to put it into percentage, Africa contributes, I think, between 9% to 11. 9% to 11. I mean, China alone contributes 27%. That's one country. America alone contributes much more than the entire Africa. So yes, I mean, the world, we are here today, and collaboration is ongoing. I mean, all sort of policies and institutions coming together, government of nations, private bodies. I mean, to design solutions to mitigate the effect of climate change. So that's why we're here today. It's going to be an interesting journey. And I also want to quickly mention that maybe I also discuss with you after now, Maiwa, for our ecopreneurs. I'm very interested in the project. I have done a couple of projects. I have startups that is changing the narrative and transforming, the sustainability landscape. And as a matter of fact, I've been able to attract, I mean, a couple of grants, I mean, across thousands of dollars, and we're really working. So I'm always excited. That's one of the things that got me interested, actually. I like to, because we need more people, more green startups to come up. And entrepreneurs are really, and private organizations, they are really doing a lot. But then we need more young minds, we need more hands. I mean, like we have you guys here. So whatever you're designing, please let it be disruptive, let it be world class, let it be, let it bring lasting impact. I mean, let it reverberate across the continent, and to an extent that it can be scaled across, Asia and other continents of the world. So I needed to establish that. Okay, so the goal of this course is designed to provide the participant with an understanding of climate change mitigation, its importance and strategies for implementing mitigation measures in their respective countries. So we'll run through introduction, mitigation strategies, planning and implementing mitigation measures, case studies of successful climate change and mitigation projects in developing countries. And I have quite a number of personal experiences to share as well. So much, actually. So as a form of introduction, climate change is, I mean, like I just said now, it's not just, it's an existential threat. That's how bad it is. I mean, it's not just about, shortage of water. It affects the entire planetary bodies, affecting humans, animals, biodiversity, our livelihood. I mean, as everything around us, everything, because we are not made. I mean, we don't live in isolation. I mean, so unconsciously, back then, the humans were just, like I said, exploring and creating all sort of products. So we make, and we waste. Instead of designing these products and items from scratch to have like what we call cradle to grave. So what we do is cradle to grave. So the threat is huge. I mean, there are things that are happening in Nigeria now. I mean, growing up in the 80s and early 90s, I'd never seen such, happen. And they're happening, I mean, across the world. So I mean a whole lot. The world's temperature and system has been disrupted. Nature is being disrupted, and no thanks to us. Hopefully we would repent. So by implementing sustainable policies and investing in climate resilient technologies, I mean, we can mitigate the impacts, of climate change and build a more sustainable future. So mitigation is key. We know the problems are here, so we need to do something about it. I mean, if we don't do anything, it's only going to get worse. I mean, some projections are even, bleak. Some scientists already feel like we are too late. Of course, majority are still saying there's a lot we can do, and that's why we have, the Sustainable Development Goals, till like 2030. I know it should be revised because we are nowhere close to achieving them, and that's a more holistic, a holistic program or initiative, by the UN and Conference of Parties across nations. So climate change mitigation refers to actions taken to reduce and prevent greenhouse gas emissions. So it's important to emphasize that. So what steps are we taking? What actions are we putting in place? What ideas, innovations? What systems? I'm a systems thinker. Systems are and that's one thing we lack in Africa, putting systems in place to solve problems. So it's usually, an isolated approach. Government is literally struggling. Thank God for a few African countries coming up. Government is just there. You can help the citizens out there, private organization. No synergy. So systems, I always emphasize systems. So actions taken to reduce and prevent greenhouse gas emissions to limit the negative impact. And I want it to be as much interactive as possible. So, we can just start popping in the chat. What actions are being taken in your countries? Please just pop them. What mitigation strategies are being deployed in your countries, in your locality? That you're aware of, whether by some ecopreneurs. Like I said, I'm always happy when I see what young people are doing across Africa and across the nexus of food, energy, and water. They are doing a whole lot. Amazing, revolutionary solutions. I'm a part of the system. So many African countries still rely heavily on fossil fuels. Like we know, you need to see, for those who are not in Nigeria, perhaps you've seen pictures, you need to see the amount of jerry cans, kegs people take to fuel stations to buy petrol or diesel or during scarcity, in hundreds of thousands, if not in millions across the nation. That's to let you know that, we are still largely dependent on fossil fuels in this part of the world. Across Africa, actually. So I saw a stats. For instance, let's just keep into mobility transportation. I'm not sure we have electric cars in Nigeria yet. I heard of one, and I learned that it literally packed up on 3rd Million Bridge. That can happen. But across Africa, I know South Africa is trying. Pushing them out. Then Kenya will probably be the next. As at the last time I checked, did some background check. But then the amount of electric cars, EVs, is way low compared to what we have in Europe and other countries. I was in Warwick University last year, United Kingdom, and I went to their car park. You needed to see I took pictures. Unfortunately, I can't share them here. The amount of charging port or stations and the amount of, the space for EVs, I was amazed. I was amazed. So, however, we are here now. So it's not, it doesn't take, I always say that it doesn't take a century to effect change. A century is 100 years. You don't need 100 years to effect change. The moment we have, and not just our politicians, but of course they are vital. We have leaders and citizenry with love in our hearts, love for humanity, love for change, and transformational mindset. That is very important. Transformational mindset. Of course, for politics, that political will is important. Often, our political leaders, they know what to do, but just to implement it, just to get it out there, has always been the problem. I can speak for Nigeria. because I mean, I've done a couple of things with politicians over the years, and I've seen that. I mean, you come up with all the beautiful, fancy, sustainable, I mean, relevant ideas, and just to put it in place, it's just a problem. So we're still largely dependent on fossil fuels, especially for energy needs. And of course, there's growing interest in developing renewable energy sources, such as solar, wind, and geothermal power. As we speak, I'm currently speaking with, I mean, but fellow Nigerians can relate to this. Fuel price jumped from, let's even say 195 to, I think I bought yesterday when I was filling my car. I bought it 600, yes, 600. I mean, that's like 400, I mean, percent increase. So, I mean, at the moment, we are changing, our generating sets from fuel to gas. I mean, it's way more, cheaper. And businesses are actually doing that all across. I have a particular friend who has a confectionery store, and he has a very huge it's converted to gas. I mean, of course, I mean, gas is still, part of the corporates, but I mean, just to say so I spoke with a solar engineer. I mean, interestingly, he told me last year to quickly install it, and he gave me a price, but I dragged. Now, I mean, I had to run back to him because what I consume regularly, I mean, weekly, if I mention the amount, car and at home, oh no, oh boy, it's not funny. I mean, I had to literally, I have a car, my wife has a car, so we had to literally just abandon one for over a month now. It's just there in the house, just filling space. So we've been using one. I mean, just to plan and re-strategize, because I realized what I was spending weekly wasn't funny, because I mean, both of us were researchers, do a lot of cerebral work. Sometimes we are working till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So if light is out, electricity is out, we have to switch to the other. So right now, I can't wait to install my battered solar. So Kenyan government has set a target to generate 100% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2030. I mean, and this is the way to go, actually. This is the way to go. I mean, 2030, it's pretty close, actually, 7 years, less than 7 years, actually. So another aspect of climate change mitigation in Africa is reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. This one is the heart of everything we are saying. It's the heart of everything. I mean, there's a part of the slide we'll get into. Our expansion more on that. Most importantly, finally, forest plays a critical role in storing carbon, but deforestation and forest degradation release carbon into the atmosphere. We know what carbon can do. Of course, there are other greenhouse gas emission substances other than carbon. Methane is another very potent one, very, very potent, actually. So, but carbon is, I mean, it's still like, the most emitted. So why is climate change mitigation important in developing countries? I think I've touched a bit of it. Excuse me. I saw a video, and in the video you would largely see statistics about how the entire rural communities in Africa, even some maybe suburban communities, largely still depend on using cutting down trees, I mean, for cooking, firewood for cooking, not even charcoal, now firewood for cooking. You'll be amazed. I mean, it's dangerous. By the time you cut down the trees, carbon sequestration or capture, I mean, especially carbon sequestration is a problem, because we need the trees to help us absorb and take in the carbon dioxide, and this tree releases oxygen. That's what we breathe. I mean, so most of our rural communities, I mean, that's where, not just even in our cities, but there's a lot of need for help in those, in those communities. And guess what? We have a huge abundance of, potentials for renewable energy, huge abundance. Is it the sun we want to talk about? I mean, we have massive water bodies. I mean, look at our rural communities. That's enough to harness the power of the wind. I don't know if anybody has seen The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. I don't know, has anybody seen that? The Boy Who Harnessed, if you have seen it, just indicates. The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. It was directed by Chinwete Ejiofor. If you know, I do movies a lot, you know, and not just any movie. Oh yes, awesome. Thank you, Emanuela. Quite the movie. I mean, the movie literally, I've seen it like over 100 times. I'm not kidding, because I'm interested in renewable energy. So what this 13-year-old guy, I'm trying to remember, I think I can't remember his name exactly now. What he did, it's actually a true life story, interestingly. 13-year-old boy, his father, I mean, Chinwete Ejiofor, couldn't pay his school fee, so he dropped out, but he would sneak into the school library to read up on, read books on physics and all that. So, of course, the experience, oh yes, awesome. Ejiofor, thank you. Awesome. So, so his father, they were literally swimming in poverty because their only source of livelihood, farming. Drought came. I mean, of course, the ground. Oh, thank you. It's a beautiful video. Actually. Yeah, it sparks a lot. Thank you, Favor and Gabriel. So, I mean, drought came. I mean, what do you want to plant inside a dry ground? No water, no nothing. So this boy literally, I mean, what inspired me, and that's one of the reasons I started with innovation for high school students. This boy literally started picking materials from around his environment. Speaking this, speaking that, from, I mean, waste abandoned. At the time, he involved his friends. And long story short, of course, he encountered a lot of obstacles. I mean, even his father, Chinwete, I mean, they were all like, what are you doing? You know what happens when you're building your dreams, when you're trying to do what has never been done. Yeah, William, thank you. Yeah, William. So eventually he put it together with one or two support from his friends, and he built it like a windmill, local windmill. And that's one of the things we'll still get into. I mean, we must be able to localize mitigation strategies. We can't be importing everything. We must localize it. So he was able to build this windmill, and he pumped water from the ground. And that was literally the end of poverty. Literally the end of poverty. So, I mean, we have all the potential. That's what one 13-year-old boy did. Can't remember if it was Malawi. I think it was Malawi. For Kenya, the Sustainable Waste Management Act is being operationalized. Awesome. Waste generators are called to be part of an EPR scheme. Oh yes, a friend in Kenya, we discussed it about 2 weeks ago. Well, we'll be reporting on their waste management activities periodically to enforce. I'll talk about EPR as well. Extended producer responsibility. Very important. Very, very, very important. So we have the huge potential for, I mean, all sort of, to create all sort of opportunities and possibilities around renewable energy. Energy efficiency measures can help reduce energy consumptions. Sustainable land practices. See, agriculture is one of the most contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. Agriculture, and I'm going to see. Let me quickly say this. Right now, I mean, statistics has it that there are over 300 million people, I mean, going to bed hungry across sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. I think, yeah. But guess what? We've not even started. So right now, the world's population is around, you can help me confirm, I think 7.5, 7.6 billion to 7.8 billion. I mean, depending on the, institutions, you see varying statistics, but at least 7.5 billion. And yet the hunger level is huge. Guess what? For agriculture, people now, in Nigeria, there are so many agripreneurs springing up here and there everywhere. Everyone is going into farming. Everyone is thinking farming. Everyone is investing into farming. I mean, people are making losses, but people are going into it. So where am I driving at? By 2030 and 2050, the world's population would have grown to at least 8.5 billion and at least 10 billion, respectively. 2030 and 2050. 2050 is about 27 years from now. I mean, let's not even talk about 2100, where Africa will have a quarter of the world's population. And guess what? So there will be a need to produce more food. I mean, we're coming back to why I'm trying to emphasize the need for mitigation. And we must start now. There'll be more mouths to be fed, because right now, hunger level is even high. I mean, it's hugely high. And so population is going to increase 8.5 billion and 10 billion. Some projections actually stated 11 billion, and that's actually dangerous. very risky. So that we need to produce more food, that we need to produce more materials, more goods, more items, more gadgets, more everything. You can imagine the demand that will be placed on our environment if things continue like this. So to produce more food, you know what people have been doing over the years, and even up to now, thank God for innovations, you clear forest spaces. That's what we do. We clear hectares. I mean, I know people who acquired hundreds of hectares, thousands of hectares, and just cut off all the trees just to grow crops. And usually it's even monocropping in the practice, just to grow crops and feed. And let's not even talking about chemical inputs. I mean, the toxic nature of this kind. Let's not even talk about that. First is people need to produce more food, but there are ways around that. There are innovative solutions, I mean, that we must design and put in place to mitigate the danger. Usually I like to say that, I mean, hunger lurks in the dark, 2030, 2050. So hunger is just like hiding in the dark and looking at us, observing us. Because the way we are churning out, you know, babies and recreating, it's alarming, truthfully. However, it is being proactive that is most important. We need to be very proactive. So we cannot emphasize the importance of sustainable land use practices. I mean, conservation, agriculture. I do a lot of things with IIT. I don't know if you know the International Institute for Tropical Tropical Agriculture. I do a lot with them, and I've learned so much working with IIT, so much. Well, I mean, I'll share some of the experiences as we go on. So the adoption of climate change mitigation measures requires significant, of course, investment in technology, a lot of investment in infrastructure and human resources, which can be a challenge for many African countries. So, but most importantly, we must start now. We must garner all the resources, all the money, all the minds, all the potential and collaborations, that we can. The role of government, I mean, I said this earlier on, I have a couple of friends here in this part of the world, they are so driven to make change happen that they are fond of emphasizing the citizens are the problem, the people are the problem. What are you going? I mean, yes, I think it was John F. Kennedy that said, "What are you going to do for America? Think what America will do for you." Yes, but I mean, those are societies where there are systems, there are structures in place and all that. Let me give you an example I like to use. I mean, when my trip to UK last year was quite interesting. I have a childhood friend. We also reunited, and he's a citizen, and they're telling me reasons. He would do anything to pay his tax without being asked. Of course, he'll still be defaulters. So he would do anything to pay his tax and he now started listening and reading out to me how the government of UK has transformed his life, his business, his family. I mean, and all that. So you just naturally want to, do your own part. But then there's a role the government must play. There are investments that must be made into infrastructure. I mean, hugely. It's not $1 million. It's not even $10 million. It's not even $100 million. So, I mean, of course, from the aspect of regulation as well, there has to be systems in place. We need working and reliable institutions. Peace, justice, and whatnot institutions, goal 16, right? Yes. And strong institutions, goal 16. So we need that. So the role of government will include developing and implementing climate change policies and strategies. I think last year or 2 years ago, I was in Kigali last year. I was selected for the Ellen MacArthur Foundation's from linear to circular economy Africa workshop. And I know Rwanda has adopted the circular economy roadmap. South Africa too, yeah. South Africa, I think Kenya as well. Then some of that Ghana is, I think in the process, and we need I know Nigeria, it's also in the pipeline right now. There's this committee, stakeholders meeting and designing it. So we need the government to do this. So, I mean, a practical example is Nigeria has developed the National Climate Change Policy and Response Strategy. So, I mean, what the government does practically is to, integrate systems, integrate institutions, put policies in place. I like to say that one policy can influence more than 1 billion people positively or negatively. And the problem has usually been that we don't have enabling policies. I mean, policies that can drive transformational change. So one policy alone. So this is a program and initiative by Nigerian government. So to harness, because a lot of things, like I said, growing up, I mean, I used to share my childhood experience. It was rich, it was robust, it was interesting then. I mean, you know, largely across Africa, rain-fed agriculture is what we practice. We literally wait for the rain to come. I mean, I'll touch that, you know, going on as well. I mean, so government is expected to provide incentives for renewable energy investment. South Africa has implemented a renewable energy independent power producer procurement program, and that encourages private sector investment in renewable energy. And some of these incentives come in form of, I mean, tax incentives. So if you are procuring, say, renewable energy, I mean, materials and tools, and all the necessary resources, especially, say, for instance, you're importing them because we want to encourage it in Africa. So what government will do is, if, say, tax duty was supposed to be, say, 30%, government can decide to make it 5% to encourage, you know, private organizations to, you know, deploy as much as possible renewable energy initiatives and projects, because we need so much of that. So governments also do a lot of investment in increasing public awareness. A good example is the Kenyan government that launched a campaign to educate the public on the need to reduce plastic waste, and it's usually done, and I think Kenya did that well, and usually done, you know, across all the media platforms, on billboards, across radio stations. You'll be amazed. I mean, as a brand, okay, the part I didn't mention, my first life, I like to say my first life, what I did largely was brand and marketing strategy development. So I've worked with startups, SMEs, and multinational corporations. I mean, developing marketing solutions, brand development solutions across. So where I'm driving at is, you'll be amazed, some of the research we did, you'll be amazed at the level at which rural communities listen to radio a whole lot. They listen to it, and it affects them. I remember working with a set of farmers in 2021 while I was doing a breakout section, you know, an FGD section, focus group discussion section for these farmers in the rural community. Out of, say, about 100 of them, only one of them listens to weather forecasts. He listens to weather forecasts, and I still have his contact. In fact, I was the matter of working together. And whatever he listens to, whatever updates he gets on here will influence whether he's planting, how he plants, what to plant, when to, and what not to plant. I mean, that was remarkable from part of the insight I took away. So public awareness is key. So I always like to say integrated stakeholder approach. You can't be designing a solution and I mean, you're not carrying people along. It's just be a white elephant project. So you must educate people. It's very important. So government can do that on a large scale. Promote international cooperation. I mean, African Union is actually stepping up and doing a lot. I mean, I don't know how many of you know about Africa 2063 agenda 2063. I mean, we are so used to sustainable development goals 2030, but there's, you know, a 2063 agenda, you know, designed by African Union and some other African institutions. I'm hoping that will not be pushed as much as we are pushing the SDGs, because this is, I mean, these are localized policies and initiatives, you know, well thought out. Now, of paramount importance, the role of the African business community. This cannot be overemphasized. It cannot be over. In Nigeria, we have, I mean, okay, I wanted to say unofficially, from the Corporate Affairs Commission, as at 2015, I was part of people Google selected to run some nationwide trainings.
Okay, I think it's back.
Oh, okay. I think I was locked out. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, please. Yes.
I'm not trying to retrace my thought. Let me try and quickly share my screen. So the importance of business, I was trying to talk about the importance of the role of African business community. So it's huge. So as of 2015, more than 34 million small businesses, were registered in Nigeria. And CAC told us, the Corporate Affairs Commission told us that there are more unregistered businesses than registered ones. So what am I trying to say? You can imagine what businesses, small, medium, and big businesses can do. The role to play. So, they play a lot of role in reducing carbon footprint. For instance, many companies are switching to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind energy. A lot of organizations are actually doing that, and across Africa and the world. So, businesses help to implement green supply chains. There's a startup in Nigeria, Code Up started. I know Code Up first. There are quite a number of initiatives like that across Africa now. Code Up was the first that I got to know. What this guy did was to create this container-like storage facility. So a lot of work, extensive work with smallholder farmers. You need to know their pain points. It's really sad. Post-harvest loss, and not even just post-harvest loss. A lot of transporting product at times. So other times they take their produce to the market and they don't get to sell everything. Because they are perishable, all that goes to waste. So what Code Up started was, if you have your tomato, your pepper, your vegetables, your veggies and all those, easily perishable goods, produce, you can store them in the Code Up, and so it increases the shelf life, from say 2 days, 24 hours, 3 days to, I think about 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and that's a lot. So farmers can make more money. So supply chain is and there's another startup I heard of. I haven't, explore them. So what they do is, I think from the northern part of Nigeria, there is this huge truck, so you can move farm produce from any part of Nigeria or even across Africa. I think in other African countries too, they have them. You can move any produce, say tomatoes or whatever, you move them across states, across cities. It preserves them, and they can laugh, because often when tomatoes are being transported from the north to say Lagos, some percentage of, in fact, as a matter of fact, there's a statistics that stated that 45% of tomatoes harvested ends as waste. That's the American. That's huge. 45%. That's huge. So so businesses can actually help implement green supply chains, and that will help reduce emissions. So there are also designs of huge trucks that are EVs, electric powered. So so traveling from as far as covering miles, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles. And they're also, cold chain powered. Then businesses help us develop and invest in green technology. That's one of the rules of business. African businesses can invest in and develop green technologies that reduce, emissions. That's part of what I said. A typical example here is Nigerian firm, Large Group Limited, has invested in a biomass plant, that generates electricity. Haiti has something like this, and even in University of Ibadan. I've seen it firsthand. I remember last year I went for a training that, this biomass, biogas, mine was biogas. So turning animal dung and food waste into biogas. And it was interesting for me, what can be achieved. And it's being popularized, and I think adoption rate is really increasing. There are businesses across Africa already doing this. So, but on a large scale, it would make a whole lot of sense, for businesses to start adopting this. You don't even have a choice in our country at the moment. The price of fuel is not funny. It's literally taking huge chunk of operating costs. So then finally, businesses can collaborate with government and other stakeholders. And African Development Bank is doing a whole lot. And say since Akemi, took over, additional Akemi took over, AFDB is doing so much, investing, in private organizations, to bring up renewable energy projects across Africa, and it's across Africa. Now, let's quickly touch one or two mitigation strategies. The state of renewable energy technologies in Africa. Like we started, by saying, I took a class last year on renewable energy, and the amount of energy, what is called energy poverty, you'll be amazed. So, like I stated earlier, largely across rural communities, I'm sure of Nigeria, and I know it's obtainable across Africa, largely. Firewood is still the major source of cooking. Energy for cooking is still firewood. So 2012 to 2016, I worked with 1 Watt Solar and Carbon Credit Network in Lagos. So the founder invented green cook stove. So what he did was, I don't know if you know what is called water incense. So water incense, this plant that floats on water. You have a lot of them on Third Mainland Bridge in Nigeria, quite a number of them. I hope the connection is stable now. So sorry about that. Why the link isn't allowed? So sorry about that. So, oh yeah, Ekotutu, I know Ekotutu as well, but I know Ekotutu very well actually. But Code Up actually started. Code Up started too. But like I always say, for your project as well, yes, like I said, think like there is no box. However, most of the things we create, innovations, we're just, advancing one solution that already exists, or tweaking it here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I say that the problem is so huge that Code Up alone cannot solve it. You won't find code. I've not even seen Code Up in the local government. I work with the small older farmers. I have never seen the presence of Code Ups. Code Up. So they are. So these solutions are needed across board. Across communities, rather. So I was saying that, so that particular organization that I worked with, that was actually what exposed me to renewable energy solutions, sustainable development initiatives, and that really gave me a lot of inspiration. So, we take water incense from, the rivers, from the waters. So the organization had a plant for processing it. Eventually, it comes out as a green gel. And this green, it's so beautiful. It smells nice. So the cook stove is also specially designed and engineered for that gel, biofuel gel. So you turn it in, and it literally burns green all through, blue rather. There's no smoke. Trust me. I used it. 98% no smoke. No, and so it's so friendly. You can inhale. The biofuel gel, it doesn't give you any health hazard and so on. So so we're looking at Africa's continent. The continent's energy mix is still dominated by fossil fuels, with coal, oil, and gas accounting for over 80% of total installed capacity. Countries such as Morocco, Egypt, Kenya, and South Africa have made significant strides. Yes, these are top African countries. I'm so sure of South Africa and Kenya, taking these strides and innovating and pushing the boundaries and the limits. So Morocco and South Africa are ranking among top 10 countries in the world for installed solar capacity. I remember that. Okay, we'll get there. I wanted to share one experience where the renewable energy company I worked with. Applications of renewable energy technologies in Africa. So, in rural areas, access to modern energy services is limited. Renewable energy technologies such as solar photovoltaic systems, small wind turbines, micro hydro systems have been used to provide electricity for lighting. So let me quickly share experiences. So with Carbon Credit Network, one of the things we did, it was powered by Bank of Industry. So there's this community in a state in Southwest Nigeria. So the organization I worked with installed massive, I can't remember the capacity, it was massive, solar panels and, solar energy projects. So, and the community, they were paying very, very little, something they can actually afford. Of course, they are predominantly farmers, something they can afford, and they embraced it. And from our office in Lagos, we can actually regulate, we can, in real time, assess the amount of energy being used, consumption level, and all that. Then also, for those who know Computer Village in Ikeja, Computer Village is like the repair center in Africa. Yeah, I think the largest repair for you to repair gadgets, especially phones and laptops. Then also, I mean, to buy phones, sales and purchase of phones and electronic devices. So there's this particular building. As a matter of fact, my engineer resides, has a space there. It houses over 150, engineers and stores. So we installed the solar system for them, and we're just, in fact, it was pay as you go. It was a pay as you go model. So just like what we have now, pay as you go. You pay. That was as far back. This is as far back as 2015. So and the impact was remarkable. So in Kenya, the government has implemented a feed-in tariff policy that allows for the deployment of grid-tied solar. I also saw a video in Singapore. There's this particular organization. They are generating so much renewable, energy that they are even feeding back the national grid. So they are generating so much, that the organization needs. So part of the excess is being, sent back to the national grid, just to enhance, the capacity and the electric generation, so that more people can have access to it. That's the same thing being done in Ghana. In South Africa, renewable energy technologies such as wind and solar PV have been used to provide power to the grid with over 6,000 megawatts. That's actually a lot of renewable energy capacity already installed. So what are the challenges facing renewable energy technologies adoption in Africa? Please, you can share in the chat box some of the renewable energy solutions you've come across in your community, in your state, in your country, or even continents you've been to outside Africa. Let's just learn one or two remarkable solutions you've experienced and you've seen, or especially been installed or deployed in your cities. Wind power, awesome. When I went to the UK last year, interestingly, in University College Hospital here in the University of Ibadan, I know there used to be one or two, wind vane, installed. I don't know if they are still functional, of course, but there are technicalities to it. You need to, the wind pattern is also important. So it's not just about installing, just replicating solutions. So you need to, so there's a particular rate of wind pattern that must be, in place before you can install, say, wind vane or, wind turbine. Yeah, thank you. Solar Africa has unlimited. Oh yeah, thank you so much. I love briquettes. I went for briquette training too because I'm interested in rural solutions. Yes, I can actually make briquettes. It's cheap, it's affordable. So our plan is to be teaching these rural people how to recreate it themselves. Yeah, use of briquettes in cooking stove, solar. Thank you. Awesome. Solar refrigerators, awesome. Solar and wind energy, awesome. Yeah. Solar is like the leading, I think, across Africa. Solar is leading. Yeah, solar. So solar is still largely, I think geothermal in some part of Africa is also, being experimented. Yeah, geothermal energy. Thank you. Of course, high upfront costs. Installing 6,000 megawatts might not even be $100 million. Some of them run into billions of dollars. Depending on the capacity the country or the organization is planning to install. So, upfront cost is usually largely the materials are imported from, Europe and across the world. So, and I think there's a part of the slides that we'll touch on. I'll talk about that. We need to look inward. Actually, Africa has been blessed with so much resource. We know this. We know it. Guaranteed Trust Bank one time was saying Africa is the last frontier, and that's why the whole world is literally scrambling for, electric battery materials for battery, lithium, and the rest. Scrambling. China has done a lot of investment. Russia, everyone is, even America, looking inwards to Africa. The question to ask our leader, how are we going to maximize this advantage? How are we going to, leverage it and take, and start leading decisions around renewable energy, because we have all of the resources. Biogas, thank you. Hydroelectricity, thank you. Solar cook stoves. Oh yes. Oh yes. During my master's class as well, one of our professors, he brought samples, he created solar cook stoves. I mean, so you just need to be patient. But I mean, we actually boiled egg. Yes, we boiled egg, boiled water. I mean, so cooked rice as well. So, but you just need to be patient with it. And I know with advancement, these things they'll become known. So give it another 20, 30, 50 years. Everything we're talking about now, solar, they to just become the norm. In fact, there are advancements now. You don't even need a solar panel. I saw one innovation from Stanford University last year, and it's becoming popular now. And I know that within a decade, we will almost achieve price parity, with the traditional, electricity cost. It's cheaper to use, the grid, supply than renewable energy. So, but I noticed with solar, if I'm going to install solar, the capacity I'm working on for my house would cost about, I mean, this is my home now. It would cost about, I'm trying to convert it in dollars, about a little above $2,000. I mean, that's a lot. How many people can afford that? So, but if you look at what I spend on fossil fuel, petrol especially, every month in a year, I realize that it's actually more than that. In 1 year, it's actually more. So upfront cost is an issue. So making them unaffordable for many individuals and businesses across Africa. Lack of supportive policies, like I emphasized, if only we have enabling policies. Policies can change, can drive change. One policy can, I mean, like I said, I always like to say that influence 1 billion people either ways. So we need lawmakers with transformational mindsets who are informed. I mean, who are innovative. I mean, who truly care about the people. We really need them. Buyers, yeah. The cost of renewable energy is costly, but once products are subsidized, thank you. Yeah, subsidized and make them affordable to mitigate climate change, especially in rural areas. Yeah, thank you. Policy can drive policy of renewable energy. Yeah, true. Thank you, Ruby. So we need policies that I like to call them enabling policies, not just supporting, enabling policies. So these policies will inspire, I mean, activities, deployment of all sorts, collaborations, and that will promote the adoption of renewable energy technologies. Technical skills, I mean, that's also a major problem. I am not sure we have as much institutions in Nigeria that are even offering like undergraduate programs, completely like you have in Europe and other countries. I'm not sure we have as much organizations offering, these programs like this, where young people can go and learn. I mean, really learn. Becomes like your normal accounting programs, your normal biochemistry. So, I mean, something like that. We need to start institutionalizing them, have them to curriculum, educational curriculum, and becomes like a part of every, like, I mean, people go to school to study English in this age and time. Yes, people are going to study English in Africa. So we need, so these technical skills are really lacking. Lack of access to. So finance, I mean, like we started, is crucial. Climate finance is one conversation that is, driving sustainable development, talks now around the world. So let's just talk a little about energy efficiency measures. Buildings, there's something called the built environment. Last year when I was in Kigali, I don't know how many of you know African, I mean, I like to give them free publicity. They should pay me though. How many of you know African Leadership University, ALU, in Rwanda? So, I mean, I was there last year, and the way the school is built, the institution is built, you will not find a single fan, air conditioning systems, and yet if you're not careful, you'll be shivering. It's where, I mean, the design. So built environment is one aspect that we've neglected so much. There's so much emphasis on renewable energy and waste. Renewable energy waste, and afforestation, deforestation, land conservation and all that. But the built environment is also a major area that we can actually reduce the amount of energy being. So in that building, like I said, there's no fan, so you don't need to plug your fan or your air conditioner. It's the design is it's secularly designed. That's the word. Designed, inspired by secularity. I mean, you're not going to. So the way it is designed, it responds to it regulates, or the way it works, it's integrated to either the external environment, the temperature is influencing it. I mean, they work in sync. They work in sync. So if it's very cold outside, you're not. I've seen the ALU design. Thank you very. I mean, amazing. We need that. At the point when I came back, I was feeling like that's the sector I should go into, because in Nigeria we do a lot of building projects. Oh my God, mass people are just building structures. Right now, if you know developers in Nigeria, a developer can convert a plot of land. Say, like, let's even say a plot of land should take, say, four blocks of flats, say 2-bed or 3-bed. A developer can turn that into 1,000 block of flats. I'm not kidding you. They just build it anyhow. I mean, leave no space for greenery and all that. So African Leadership University truly inspired me. And then there's this other place, Noskin. Noskin is also in Kigali. So Noskin is also secularity, secularity inspired. So saving a lot of energy. I mean, and the material for ALU, I mean, I think it was largely clay, and local people, workmen, the laborers, local people were involved. That's some social, economy, advantage. So, I mean, so creating more jobs for local people. So materials were sourced locally. So you don't have to import from China, import from, even other African countries. So the built environment is key. Energy efficient buildings could reduce energy demand in the building sector by 50% by 2050. And that's a lot, 50%. In Africa, countries such as South Africa, Kenya, Ghana have made significant efforts to promote energy efficiency in buildings. And I really desire that will be the narrative across Africa. South Africa has implemented the Energy Performance Certificate program, which requires all buildings to have an EPC that rates their energy efficiency. So we need this. I watched a video where waste tires in India is used. Oh, thank you. I mean, if you start talking about innovations, we won't even live here. We will not live. People are turning. Somebody is advising that you take an excursion of future to ALU. Perhaps we will replicate in Nigeria. Awesome. I mean, I'm already planning to set up a circular economy hub here in Nigeria. Not just a hub for like an office or training, but it will integrate a whole lot of activities, and so the building itself, will be inspired by circularity. We're going to save energy as much as possible, conserve it as much as possible. So standards can be set. I mean, this is still the role of government. Standards can be set, and even professional bodies. So when you set standards, trust me, people will adjust automatically. And it begins with choice of materials. Making of cement contribute a lot to greenhouse gas emission. Kenya has implemented the building. I mean, these are programs and policies, building energy efficiency code, which sets minimum energy efficiency standards for buildings. They have it in Singapore. Singapore is one country that inspires me a lot. And Ghana has also developed a national building code that includes energy efficiency standards. We need this across Africa. Another interesting sector, I mean, that you cannot ignore is the transportation sector. And that's actually one of the things that made Elon Musk, a billionaire today, excuse me. So a friend of mine went to, I'm aware of this fact, went to Netherlands 3 years ago. And then, she told me that she's never seen bicycle riders that much in her entire life. So we can promote public transportation. I remember, I think it was in 2018 when Governor bus transit. And we need to be able to maybe pass, then so you can imagine 100 people, say 1,000 people on the road, carbon coming from the exhaust, and compared to when these other people can share, say, I'm just saying, say 20 buses, or even less. So that's a way to go. Can you hear me? I'm seeing your internet connection. Can you hear me, please? I need to know, can somebody just confirm if you can still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, someone said missed a lot. Sorry about that. That's fine. This fellowship, as an architect, I realized the impact buildings and infrastructure can contribute to climate change. Yeah, true. And I need to have the knowledge and capacity towards educating developers. Awesome. Please, we need more town planners laws, town planning laws. Yeah, are politicized in Nigeria. You're actually right. Unfortunately, that's the case. But we believe things will change. Somebody is asking for the attendance. Climate change and mitigation are key to foster sustainable development. Yeah, all the enabling policies. Yeah, thank you. So Kenya got a comprehensive public transportation is key. I'm not sure we have, maybe in South Africa, light rails. I don't know how many African countries have it. I mean, we need more of that. We need more. If I'm traveling from Ibadan to Lagos now, I would usually take the train. You can imagine the amount of people the train can take. Rwanda has implemented a motorcycle taxi system that uses electric motorcycles, reducing carbon emissions and promoting. I mean, that's a laudable one because largely purchasing power, most people can't even afford a car, and even some of the public transportation, not everybody can even afford it. So, and that's one of the things. E-mobility innovations like Uber and Bolt and a couple of them, did. So people, largely, you have, there are people who are mobile. I mean, there are times I just park my car and I'm, using Bolt to move, to get my things done, So the South Africa has implemented fuel efficiency standards for passenger vehicles. I mean, there are countries now, by 2030, they are wiping out cars that are, fossil fuel powered completely. Some of those Scandinavian countries are already achieving close to 80–90% electric cars only. Morocco has set a target to have 20% of its vehicle powered by electricity by 2020. I mean, I don't know if Morocco was able to achieve that. I know the target would have been revised, for maybe a later date, say 2030, 2050. So we need African countries to do this. And it begins with integrating stakeholders. That's the beginning, integrating stakeholders first. Then putting policies in place, enabling policies, don't forget. Forest conservation and afforestation. I mean, this one cannot be overemphasized. One of the most significant challenges to forest conservation and its rapid pace of development. Like I said, we have not seen anything. If there are no regulations, the rate at which forest is being cleared for even buildings. For buildings now, there is massive urban, migration, rural urban migration, and so buildings are being erected. I mean, almost on a daily basis. So because I think 45% of us live in cities right now, and it's projected that it might even double if we're not careful by 2050. So we need to make rural communities habitable. In Italy and some countries, what they are doing there, I mean, the government came up with some initiatives, incentives to lure young people. So say, for instance, if you move to a rural location, you get, say, I'm not sure of the exact amount, equivalent of, say, 10,000 euro. I mean, just to encourage you, businesses as well, their relocation costs, and I think some fee that covers their employee, government is taking care of it. And they are, seeing amazing outcomes already. So just to bring life back, because they are only old people, we're living old people in rural areas. I mean, and that's not good enough. So addressing these challenges we cannot emphasize policies, enabling policies. So there's need to establish protected areas to safeguard forest and biodiversity while supporting local livelihoods. I must mention this. There's a remarkable project IITA, International Institute for Tropical Agriculture is currently working on. And I am super inspired. I am super impressed. Yes, Finland and Norway, obviously. It's that Finland and Norway. They're not taking it lightly at all. It's as if they don't have any problem. I mean, they just move from traditional means of production to renewable energy to. It's as if I mean, how do we need to really understudy them? So, do you know what IIT is doing? And of course, they have partners. So IIT, there's a community in Nigeria right now. IIT is growing almost 400, I wanted to be sure, that's why I paused. Almost 400,000 trees in certain selected communities. I think I'm trying to remember the organization that powered it. 400,000 International Institute for Tropical Agriculture. Someone asked me to repeat it. And guess what? I mean, this year too, I did a couple of tree planting projects. So what IIT is doing is, IIT is not even just planting trees. IIT is planting fruit trees. Cash, I mean, that's some form of cash crops. So these communities, you can imagine what to bring to socio-economic transformation. So it's not just, I mean, it's not just adding, helping them with carbon sequestration, adding trees to purify the air and the atmosphere, I mean, to prevent erosion, nourish the soil. But these people, they will own the trees for life, generations to come. And United Nations will say sustainable development is the development that meets the present need without jeopardizing the opportunity, or the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So, I mean, almost 400,000 fruit trees, all sorts. So they can harvest them, they can export them, they can, what that will mean? People will start, setting up factories, maybe fruit juice making factories, and that's a lot of jobs for that community. I mean, totally impressed. I mean, the unit in charge, they are like my friends.
Okay, let's just wait for Shokwe to join the call again. Please, okay, yes, of course. I think Shokwe had network issues. So while we wait for him to join the call, from our knowledge, from today's class, climate change mitigation, the class has been quite engaging. So the quick task for today is, from what you've gotten, in this class and from your general knowledge of climate change mitigation, what would you describe as your key take-home message, just by being into this class, right? Yes, you're back now.
Okay.
So I was saying that from today's class, what has been your key take-home message? We do this to ensure that we all have something that we can hold on to, that we have learned in the last 2 hours. In the last 2 hours, just think through the entire class, the things that has been said, what has been your greatest, knowledge base so far. So, nice. So I would like us to put these comments in our country group. So if you're from Nigeria, just put it in your country group. Someone would, grab it, and the intention is to feature some of your comments, right, on the different social media, because it's also our belief that you all are champions, and in your respective spaces, you can preach this message even better than we can. It's also our intention that the insights that you share, will be shared with the greater public, so that we have more people being aware of ways that they can contribute to addressing climate change in Africa. Okay, so I think Shokwe is back. Hello, Shokwe.
Okay, awesome. Can you hear me, please?
Yes. I'd like to say because if we could just round the class up, say in let's see, in less than 10 minutes, so that we all leave here in less than 10 minutes. It will be very, very nice for us to do that.
Please, I don't know if you were communicating with me. I lost you.
Okay, so I was saying that if we could just round up less than 10 minutes so that everyone leaves.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you. Let me just run.
Attendance is shared on the chat, so just keep watch on the chat. All right then. Okay, please carry on, Shopper. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. So another key thing for sustainable agriculture and livestock management, one in all efficiency measures, in all Africa would need to seriously invest in research and innovation. I mean, one time I was trying to check, compare budget for a year as a university for 1 year. And I realized that what Harvard is budgeting for 1 year,
All right. So let's just give a little some seconds for him to join. I think that's just the drawback of technology in this part. Thank you very much. Let me see what someone was written. Cynthia says that one of our take home is for how to investigate further on solar cook stove and solar generation. Cynthia Watola is saying that she would be investigating further on solar cook stove, solar generator as an energy backup, and also wind energy for pumping water at small scale. Very, very important. Very, very important. I like the idea that that the thought about also starting thinking global, starting local, right? Very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. So it's almost time for us to say thank you very much for joining this. I would encourage each and every one of us to also be on the call on Thursday to enjoy and to take the concluding part of the course, climate change mitigation in developing countries. You'd agree with me that there's a lot to still learn about, to know about, and I'll encourage you to just find time. I know it's not easy on most of us. In many of our countries, data is not the cheapest thing, right? And we appreciate that that you're committing your time and this energy to working on educating yourself and learn from other people from the rest of the world to be able to address climate change in Africa. At this point, someone has something to say. I don't know if you have time. Okay, so Shokwe is still on the call. So let me give these two people opportunity to ask their question. So in 30 seconds or less, Inekeme Omo and Olaide Ola Wuwo, okay? I'll give you opportunity. So you can unmute your mic. Inekeme more to ask your question. Is Anikeme still on the call? Okay, if we can't get Anikeme, let's go for Olaide Olawogu. Olaide, you can unmute your mic to ask your question.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Afolayan. Thank you, Mayoko. Good morning.
It's actually Shokwe. It's actually Shokwe Afolayan.
Okay, yes, I'm actually greeting both of you. Okay, thank you,
All right,
Mr. Afolayan. Yeah, quick one. I observed that in rural community, some of our, of course, we know that especially in Nigeria, as I'm joining the call from, we practice, we've seen that about 70% are women. Now, meanwhile, some of these renewable energy stuff, they don't have access to it. Now, my question at this moment will be that what are approaches that can be deployed so that we provide energy provision to the farmer that will support them, while on one hand, they adopt sustainable agriculture, then all their post-harvest losses will be adopted. But the question then will be that most of these people cannot pay for this service until after usage. So what is your thinking? Thank you.
Mario, I can go on to answer that, right?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, Shokwe.
And please, I'm unable to put up my video again, the other issue. So thank you for that question. So what I like to say is this, let me use practical example or experience. So at the moment, I'm in Milking Innovation Fellowship in Israel, and we're like a team of 5. Two teams from India and Kenya. What they are largely working on. I mean, like I said at some point that what we still practice largely in Africa is still rain-fed agriculture. So first off, before we even go to the homes, homes and environment of rural dwellers on the farm, I did a research and it was really disturbing. 2021, some farmers were literally crying while we were interviewing them. So because it was barely 2 weeks into planting season and they were already counting their losses. That was 2021. It was barely 2 weeks. So where am I driving at? People are coming up with solar-powered drip irrigation. Drip is the way to go. I mean, I just started with a friend, 5-acre sweet corn plantation. And the first thing we did was to lay the pipes. We are never going to wait for the rain. And that's why I also referenced the movie. So yes, truth is these farmers cannot pay for it. But like I said, the company I worked with then, Carbon Credit Network, that model is still what we work before we go to government though. I mean, we can have private, and that's part of the solutions I'm actually designing for my fellowship program. That's part of what I'm designing. So guess what? These farmers, there's a level of, we need to do an assessment, need assessments. There's a level of what they can afford. So most projects, that target rural farmers cannot be solely 100% for profit. It has to be a social enterprise. But guess what? They can pay for some services. So, but, like we did then in Osun, we created this solar project for the community, and they were paying very little from what they are earning from their farm produce, from their harvest, from their sales. But largely, it has to be a joint effort. The government must deploy policies. Government must encourage, like we're saying, incentives for private. It still rests in the hands of private organizations, actually, because they can drive this change quicker. But incentives and policies, enabling policies must be in place before you can deploy whether green cooking solutions for women, I mean, inclusive solutions, renewable solutions, but mostly I'm concerned about the farms. We need to deploy, I mean, as rapidly as possible. thankfully this year in Nigeria, the rain came quite handy. I think the downpour has been, positive for farmers. But it's not going to be like that. Last year, that wasn't the case 2 years ago. So first thing is, there has to be a stakeholder, like a consultative forum, meeting. Government must put policies in place to encourage investors to set up. So like in the fellowship now, once we are done this year, the ladies in India, you need to see what they're working on. And it's for Africa. Water solution for farmers. So we are literally working together. I'm working on agri-fintech for our farmers. You'll be amazed how much they are being deprived, profit by middlemen, by the fact that they are digitally excluded. So it's a multifaceted approach that we must deploy for rural, because we must make rural communities attractive. And also of importance is we must create awareness to these rural dwellers, because they need to understand it. They need to also accept it. So you're not just bringing a project that they don't understand, not that you just bring it out. So we need to create awareness. We need to involve them from the get-go. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much. At this point, so we don't take so much of our time, we will be enjoying the concluding part of this lecture on Thursday. So regardless of whether you are in court 1 or court 2, please make it a day with us on Thursday. We want to appreciate the amazing knowledge base of our facilitator. You've done awesome today. We really, really appreciate you. Really thank you very much for doing justice to this topic. Being in the live class is incomparable to just having the materials. Of course, we'll share the materials, we'll still share the recording, but you will agree with me that being in the live class is, on the spot, where you engage with the facilitator. Quick one, I like to say, okay, I think it's essential that, so we have our 10 winners. Our facilitator has been gracious enough to give us an exclusive opportunity to have his intellectual property, his work, and also to nurture us in this thing, right? I think at this point, I think Shokwe, you could give us. Oh, okay, has dropped off the call again. But I think I can quickly just give us a rundown of the winners. The 10 winners from the competition we had were Marvin's Giamang. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing most of these names well. Mame Isi, Kakai Mitchell, Respa Majiri, Stephen Mutete, Rehima Masha, Rhoda Mangina, Caroline, Linda, Lisa Ayo, Cynthia Watola. So those are the 10 winners of Shokwe's book. We would communicate how you get in this material in your respective country. Once again, we want to appreciate you for making time to okay, Shokwe, you're back. I was saying something about the book. Would you want to give more information about the book and how winners will be getting the book?
Yeah, I think you've said it all. The most important thing is for those in Nigeria, it's going to be easy. We can, with our Korea partners, ship it to them. But across Africa, maybe we'll do the digital version, or still find a way to get it across, to a respective location. So the winners should just drop their details with you, the location and all that. So as much as possible, for those in Nigeria, it's easy. It's easy. We just send your address, we ship it to you. you get it. But for those across, in other African countries, we have to think of, strategize how to get it across. Otherwise, we just have to share the digital version. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate this from AC Health Initiative. We appreciate this kind gesture. So every one of us, okay, Sarah said, I'm Shokwe's younger sister. I beg, say, I can't even believe this right now. Okay, that's Sarah from I think Ghana also. So someone is saying that they're your junior sister and you probably want a book. Okay, so I think Shokwe might have to do this competition again for a different cohort.
Yeah, sorry, Mario. Somebody is saying, Kenya, you can send those coming for the climate summit. Interestingly, I'm part of the private organization. I'm part of this private organization platform planning it, and I've been telling them to send my invites. So they are like looking forward to. So my plan was to be in Kenya for September for the African Climate Summit, but I haven't gotten response yet. So the leader of the team said I should just hold on. But I wish he had sent the invitation because I need to book, flight ticket and all that. The closer the price to be. I really wanted to be in Kenya this September. That was my plan, Kenya. But let's see how it goes. It might just,
Okay. So the name of the book I would get precisely, but it's something around thinking as if there was no box. Hello, Shokwe. Could you remind us of the name of the book? Again, I know it's something around thinking as if there were no box.
Yeah, stop thinking outside the box.
Okay, stop thinking outside the box. Okay. Outside the box. The box. So all our winners, just being communication, I think you can drop your details. I would find it's time to collect our details. So thank you very much, everyone. A quick one on the projects. I want to use this opportunity again to thank each and every one of us, most especially the country reps who are volunteering. So we are not giving them any resources, and they've been very, very kind to help with grouping us and putting assigning us to project groups. For each and every one of us that have not seen our names yet, we are working with your country reps. Just ensure that we would keep updating the lists to ensure that each and every one of us are there. I think one idea that is coming to mind is that in your country group, right, what can be done is that so if you are in the ZCA fellows for Kenya, you could just we would assign someone to collect the names of everyone that has not been allocated to a group in Kenya. So that person would collect your names, and we can then correctly assign you to groups based on your location. I think that works, right? So if you're in Nigeria, there'll be somebody that will collect the names of Nigerians on the group, and we can assign you to names appropriately based on your location. Thank you once again for being a part of this. Don't forget to share your experiences.
Please, Mario, I also wanted to mention that, sorry to quickly, wanted to mention to our participants to, check me out on social media, connect, LinkedIn, Instagram, especially LinkedIn and Instagram, Apeh Gabriel Agbo, please, let's connect and, keep driving the conversation.
Yes, it's very important. Just like I would usually say, the facilitators on this program are all available to you. If you have great ideas and all of that, you're looking for partnerships, you're looking for mentors and all of that, please connect with them on LinkedIn. Our facilitator's name is Apeh Gabriel Agbo. This will be dropped on the group on LinkedIn. I will share his other social media on Telegram. So I would just, have a list of his social media handles, so we can then connect with him on social media. At this point, we want to thank each and every one of us. A fruitful day ahead. Have a fruitful week ahead. Don't forget to attend to all of the assignments that have been dropped on the group. If you have questions, do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Bamidele or any of the admins in the group or your country reps. We are here to support each other. We're here to guide each other. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a blessed day. Bye. And the attendance will be shared also on the groups. So never mind. So I understand that most of us had network thing. So you can just register your presence using the attendance link to be dropped on the group now. Bye everyone. Bye Amadi. Bye Sarah. Sarah, my Sarah. Yeah, let's see what happens on Thursday. So please, everyone that is on the call today, kindly make it a day with us on Thursday. I think Thursday is 31st of October. Joy Folorunshaw Shaw. Bye Kola Wale. Bye Caroline. Bye Sarah. Bye Sarah Deji Ojaya. Yeah. Bye Mongo K. Bye Saj. Bye everyone.